Hi out there, this is Cynthia Howard, and welcome to this episode of Freedom Cast. Today is Friday, March 5th, 2021, and I'm glad you could join me. Today is also the 357th day of the Live Free or Die state, New Hampshire lockdown, and it doesn't look like it's going to end anytime soon unless people demand it, like they have in other states like Texas and Mississippi, for example. It did come to an end there. If your numbers go down, obviously you can end the lockdown. And the hospitalizations have gone down, no doubt. So I don't know what the holdup is, unless they want to continue to control us, like big tech has been controlling our free speech, as I spoke about in my last episode of Freedom Cast. And it looks like school districts, town meetings, and state officials are all holding these Zoom meetings, which is another social media platform group, to infringe on our First Amendment, as well as Article 8, Part 1 of the New Hampshire Constitution, so that the meeting is not open and accessible, so you can't walk into the meeting, but you have to participate by phone or by computer to get your information out there. Well, what if you don't have internet access? What if you have a glitch and it goes down? What if the line is busy when you call in? I mean, that's not open and accessible as the founding fathers envisioned it to be. So they're using these platforms to shut us all down, and some worse than others. Such is the case in my local school district of Claremont, where they've adopted the proceedings for the coronavirus pandemic of House Bill 1129, which allowed them to have 2 virtual sessions instead of our regular deliberative session, so that people could call in or they could reserve a seat with their mask on, with social distancing, and sit there and listen to the meeting, but yet they could not participate in the meeting even on the computer, on the Zoom platform, and even on the telephone. So if this isn't censorship, I don't know what is. So you could not say a word because of the coronavirus. They were afraid, but you could sit in the audience. Now, what's that all about? I think that's about control. I think that's about shutting us down so that they could get their money and they could get it as fast as they could. It's estimated that the meeting took, when they did the second virtual session, it took about 12 minutes to conduct because, nobody was there to deliberate the warrant articles. Of course, there's only one warrant article, the main budget, which is over $37 million, and it's going to raise your taxes by 60 cents per thousand. So, of course, they wanted to hurry that along to make sure everyone was shut down. They used the virus to do it, just like everywhere else is using the virus to do things so that you can't participate and you can't run your business. And there's only so many people that are allowed in businesses or in restaurants or in stores, etc., etc. And they played this game very well. And I hope people are paying attention to what they did, because this should never have been allowed. Because in Claremont, as in the state of New Hampshire, there's very few cases. It's minor. In fact, when they first held the first deliberative session, there were 36 cases, which is like 3,000 of 1%. It's not even 1%. And now, in the last couple of weeks, the caseloads have gone down. So, like, I checked on the state website, there were 20 cases like a week ago. And now, as of today, the day of this recording, there are 11 cases. So that's 9,000 of 1%. 9.0009 of 1%. 9/10,000ths of 1%. So there's hardly nothing. It's like an average cold that 11 people in the whole town of 12,000 people would get. So it's very, very mild, so there's no reason to shut us down. And if they were really concerned and really worried, they could have postponed, under state law, the meeting until later in the spring or early in the fall. But they didn't. That shows me that they just wanted to control the whole agenda, and they wanted to make sure everything passed, and they wanted to make sure no one refuted the budget, and that's what they got. But in the process, they are controlling your speech, they are shutting you down, all in the name of a virus which is not almost non-existent in this school district. And this has never been done before, but yet they're doing it now. And the budget has gone up. It's actually the same amount as last year because they lost $1.5 million of school aid. Well, why wouldn't they? Almost half of the school season was in remote learning. So, of course, the governor stated that he would not give them any more money. In fact, Claremont was awarded a $6.2 million check last year. And of that, over 800,000 went to the city of Claremont. And the rest of it went to the school district, with very little going to you, the taxpayers. So approximately 650,000 last year went to the taxpayers, and this year it shows on their budget paperwork that 400,000 went to the taxpayers. So out of that 6.2 million, the school district already received $4.4 million total. So why would taxes go up last year? They didn't. They went down like 0.56 cents on 1,000. Very little, in fact, because they're still spending, and it's going on considerably, as it is this year, even though they lost $1.5 million in state aid, according to the budget. So because they lost that money, they're raising the property tax. We have to pick up the tab again and again. And this year it's 60 cents on 1,000. But yet, if they had cut back on spending, knowing that they weren't going to get any more money, why should they keep getting money when all they do is spend it and very little comes back to the taxpayers? They shouldn't. And they're passing these budgets quickly, and now they're censoring our speech, so there's no one going against their wishes. So it's even worse than it has been in past years. And I just want you to be aware that spending is continuing, that they took the majority of the money. They're infringing on your speech because of a coronavirus that is very little in existence with 11 cases. So we should have had an open and accessible meeting as we normally do every year, and we didn't. So the third part of that House Bill 1129 allows them to have what they call drive-up or drive-in voting, like it's McDonald's or like it's a bank, but this isn't. This is a sacred, sanctimonious event. It's a voting. It's a very, very private affair, but yet you're going to have to put your license in on your dash, and it's going to be very dangerous because people will be walking around probably in the parking lot from the school, and it's almost meant to keep people away. That's really what it's about, keeping more people away, because a lot of people won't participate because they'll be afraid to do it. But yet in November we had a presidential election which has a lot more participants, a lot more voters than a school district meeting, and yet that went through very good. It went through safe and sound. So why didn't they keep it the way it was? Well, they wanted to hurry that budget through, and they wanted to use the coronavirus to think we're all stupid, which we aren't, and that we can't see right through what they're doing, controlling us and shutting us down just to get their money this year and just to raise your property taxes. So this year the school district is controlling your speech and raising your property taxes. So when you go to the polls, and I urge you to go to the polls Tuesday, March 9th, next Tuesday, and make sure you vote accordingly. Now there is a question, there is a caveat to all this. They don't have the final say. You have the final say. So that's why it's so important that you vote. There is a question that says, right above the budget, do you approve of the school district's proceedings of these meetings. So vote no. And if you vote no, you know what happens? They have to divert to the default budget or arrange another meeting later in the year. So they don't get what they want if you vote no on that question. But you must vote no on that question. If you believe that they are infringing on your First Amendment right, if you believe that they hurried this budget through just so they could get what they wanted, if you believe that they're controlling us in every way, shape, or form, vote no on this question. The question is on the ballot, right above the budget. Do you approve or disapprove? But it says, do you approve of school district meetings proceedings? Vote no, and then you have the final say. So join me on Tuesday, March 9th in Claremont at either one of the three schools. Stevens for Ward 1, Ward 2 is the middle school, and Ward 3 is the Disnard school, in making sure your voice is heard by voting no on that question and upholding some freedom that you have left, which is very little. As Voltaire said, I may disapprove of what you say, but I'll fight to the death for you to say it. So see you on March 9th. Thank you for listening. And check me out on cindyhoward.wordpress.com. I'm still on Facebook, even though I was censored. I'm back on there. I'm on LinkedIn and Twitter, and my email address is cindycool09@yahoo.com. My phone number is 603-543-1372. And thank you for listening to this broadcast, and I hope to have future broadcasts in the near future. Thank you.